Guys, I gotta be honest, I'm feeling a little bit lost, especially on this channel. I feel like I don't really know what to do right now, and I'm just gonna walk you through that process and share some things I've been holding back for a long time. So first of all, I gotta say that I fucking love YouTube. YouTube, as you know, it's my favorite platform ever. I mean, I started my YouTube channel when I was a male model. I made this video, What Really Happens at New York Fashion Week, and it was so beautiful as a model to be able to share my story and have fun creating videos as I was going through New York as a model. Modeling is one of the most stressful careers. I got rejected so much. I didn't feel like I had any autonomy in my career. You know, I had to literally suck casting directors' dicks, or I mean, actually, literally also. It came up a few times. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was relying on other people, right, to book me for jobs. So YouTube gave me this beautiful opportunity to make videos, and it resonated with people. And it was so beautiful seeing the comments and having somewhat of a community on YouTube in a time in my life when I truly felt lonely. I didn't have a lot of friends when I was traveling because I just moved to the US from Germany. And even the friends I had, it's all models, it's all very superficial. So I'm just so grateful for having this community on YouTube. But here's what happened pretty early on in my career on social media, which is that whenever I would post a photo on Instagram, say, of me shirtless from an underwear photo shoot, it would get tons of likes, right? That was beautiful for me. It gave me validation, especially since I got so much rejection from modeling. Social media was this place where I actually got some validation and some self-worth, which is a beautiful thing that happens on social media, but also it can be a little bit dangerous because you want more of it, you know? Nobody can tell me that validation doesn't affect us. I mean, 100% every creator, no matter who you are, no matter what kind of altruistic reasons you do it for, even a stand-up comedian like myself, getting validation is something we all need as humans. And there's nothing wrong with that. But here's what happened with me. Because I saw how many likes I would get on a shirtless photo, I would post another shirtless photo. And then I had some photographers that wanted to shoot even sexier photos of me. And I was like, I don't really want to do that, but let's do it. And I post a photo and it gets more likes and more likes. So then I find myself now all of a sudden being a hoe. Not a hoe, but like, you know, all of a sudden I'm posting a lot of shirtless things, even though that's not something I ever wanted to do. To be fully honest with you guys, I don't love being shirtless. I'm never shirtless around the house. I don't like going to the beach being shirtless. I mean, it's fine, I like it's freeing, but I don't love it. Which I know is fucking weird. And if you see me online, if you Google me and see how many shirtless photos there are of me out there, it's weird because social media has pressured me to go somewhere and do something I didn't necessarily want to do. And it's fine, you know, I think it happens to all of us to a certain extent. You have to kind of adapt and follow what is working online. The dangerous thing for me is also that when I was modeling, a lot of photographers wanted to shoot me naked and wanted to cross my boundaries, you know, sexual harassment, all this stuff. And oftentimes I would just let it happen. I would let them cross my boundaries, and as a result, I would get rewarded. Like when I would shoot with a photographer who's clearly creepy, but I would just be like, you know what, let me just walk past the red flags. As a result, I would get booked for modeling jobs. So it's almost like I've been conditioned from a young age to do things I don't want to do to get validation, right? Whether it's modeling or whether it's on social media. And the same thing kind of happened with my content because I started making videos about modeling and I read all the comments and it was so beautiful, and I read the questions and I made videos about whatever questions I would get. And one question that came up a lot is the question, are you gay? And interestingly enough, I never thought about my own sexuality a lot. Like, I think sexuality is something I always, I don't know, didn't care about enough. Like, I was just like, whatever's gonna happen. I always knew I was interested in women and I knew I was straight. But if something were to happen and if I wanted to explore something with a guy, because I grew up in Europe, I feel like I never put too much thought into what label that would mean, and I would have been very open to that experience. But again, people ask me a lot, so I made a video about it. I made this video here where I touched on sexuality. Are you gay? And I answered it in a Q&A video. And the video got like so many fucking views. And then people are asking me more about sexuality and stuff, and I was like, okay, I guess people want to hear about this. Let me make more videos about it. Even though, again, the subject matter of sexuality is interesting to me. I think it's fascinating to talk about it, and I think I have some things to say of like the openness as a European that I have that maybe Americans could learn from or benefit from. But it's not something I really was passionate about. The one thing I always loved on YouTube was storytelling, truly. I mean, going on a journey, inspiring people to get out of their comfort zones. That was my favorite types of videos, and I've incorporated that in my content too. When I went to fashion weeks, I would do like these power poses before going into castings, which hopefully some people could get inspired by.
So when you walk in, you're gonna have the confidence of a gorilla.
And around that time making YouTube videos, I also met Travis Bryant. Travis Bryant, if you don't know him, he's a YouTuber. We met tons of videos together, and I love him so much. He's to this day my best friend, right? And we had such a beautiful chemistry. He's gay, I'm straight, and we had this beautiful connection that the chemistry was undeniable, right? We just have this beautiful friendship. We're both quite vulnerable men, and I just could relate to him because we just had this beautiful, intimate relationship. Not sexually intimate, but just like more intimate than normal male friendships. And that's something I found such a beautiful thing and something I wanted to share. We talked about bromance a lot. The fact that men, regardless of their sexuality, can be close to one another. I think is one of the most beautiful things that a lot of men are missing. Especially in America, I feel like men are more lonely, men commit more crime, men are unhappier at large and angrier because I think we don't have the same love that women have. Women have beautiful female friendships and it makes them so much more balanced because they can talk about issues they have. I feel like as men, we often shove things down, and there's something beautiful about stoic and masculine, but I think it's gone too far where it's cool to have a good friend that you can maybe hug or cuddle. And I talked about that with Travis, and people resonated with the message because it was so true and authentic for us. But then a lot of people were also obsessed with the storyline of Travis and I being romantically interested in one another. And you know what? I mean, I was even confused at some point because I'd never had such a close friendship with a man. Also, there's so many other factors. I mean, I've talked about this. I have issues with sexual trauma. So sex to me was always scary. So ironically, talking to Travis was safer because I knew that because of my sexuality, because I'm straight, sex was not going to be part of the equation, which made me feel so safe because I knew it was only about the connection we had, right? And we made a lot of videos talking about bromance. We made the bromance calendar, and there's a couple of videos where obviously playfully we kind of leaned into the idea of like, oh, you know, we should make out or something, you know, like, which is funny. That's how like guys always joke about things. And I think that's where the lines became a little bit blurred between bromance and like, you know, like a relationship. You know, we talked about maybe having a bro wedding and all these things, which is again on the line of bromance. But a lot of it went into territory where people were really interested in, is Mario gonna become gay? Is he gonna fall for Travis Bryant? And also I just loved making videos with my best friend. Again, here's what happened. The subject matter, the fact that we talk about sexuality a lot, I like it. It's not my biggest passion, but the fact that I could make videos with my best friend and I could storytell, make people laugh, that's my favorite thing. That's always been my favorite thing. The creation of videos, the connection with you guys has been my favorite thing, not necessarily subject matter. And the fact that I could do it with my best fucking friend was incredible because, to be honest, I never had a best friend. Like, I traveled so much as a model. I moved on all the fucking time from a young age, basically. I mean, I traveled when I was 15 to Peru. I lived there for 1 year. Then I started modeling at 18, went to Berlin, went to London, went to Milan, went to Asia, lived all over, not having close friendships. So that is what happened with Travis Bryant. And around that time, and at the height of making videos with Travis Bryant, I then met my wife. I met Vida. We're now married. I remember there was a video I made when I first met her, and I told Travis about it, and people were freaking out. And in the beginning, people were really upset because they were like, oh, he's gonna choose her over Travis, which it's a weird time and it's very confusing because I was like, oh, I met her, but then also I have this online brand with my best friend that is super fun and it got a lot of views. And then I was like, you know what? Let me explore some other types of content. And I would make a video with my wife, for example, and it would get no views. People did not care because they were obsessed with me and Travis, which makes perfect sense from a brand perspective. Then I would go to Barcelona. I remember I made a video which is so in line with my values, and I made a video that I really wanted to make, which is a video something like, I spent 24 hours with no money, relying on the kindness of strangers, things like that, right? And I made the video, and it was one of the most, I think one of the best videos I've ever made, and it got no views. I mean, relative to what I usually get. And then this feeling kicks in of like, oh no, I'm not enough. At that time also, I kind of like moved away from modeling, gotten rejected a lot from modeling. It was not really part of my career. So YouTube was really the only thing I had. And then if a video tanks, you start questioning everything. And then I was afraid to make videos I wanted to make because I was afraid that my whole channel was gonna die as a result of that. But I still kept trying, and I started making videos, interviewing people on the street. And I love that so much. I made these videos, social experiments, six-pack versus fat guy, things like that. They're more viral videos, and that's really where I found my lane. I felt like, oh my God, I'm doing something that's fully authentic to me, and it's also finding an audience, and I fucking loved it. And then the pandemic happened. And the pandemic for a lot of people, I mean, it's a tough time, and I don't want to complain here saying it was tough for me because it was way tougher for a lot of other people. But here's what happened to me. Pandemic happened, so I couldn't do any social experiment street interview type content anymore because literally nobody was on the streets. And if I made those videos, then, you know, people would yell at me for COVID safety reasons, all that stuff, right? And then at the same time also Travis Bryant, who always had been struggling with depression, had a very bad bout of depression. And it was tough. I mean, it was tough for both of us. And I love loved being there and helping him through that. And again, our friendship, seeing how it went past and beyond social media. It is still a friendship that is very much alive, and it doesn't matter if we make videos together or not, we're friends, right? And then as a result of depression, Travis then quit social media because, for obvious reasons, it can be a very toxic work. It takes a lot of toll on your mental health. So Travis quit social media, and then all of a sudden I was in this place where I felt lost. I didn't have my best friend to make videos with. I didn't have street interviews to make, and I just didn't know my direction. I couldn't do stand-up comedy, which I just started, because comedy shut down for a year and a half. So for a year and a half, I was really fucking lost, and I had this new relationship with my wife. It was also tough for her to see me making videos with my best friend being very close online. So I was in this really weird state where I then tried to pivot. I tried to make different types of videos. And around that time, I heard about a platform called OnlyFans. And I made this video online. I saw people do this video. It's called, I tried OnlyFans for a week and made X. So I was like, you know what? That's an easy thing I can do. Let me try to make an OnlyFans, see how much money I can make, document it online, right? So I made this video, and it took the fuck off. And OnlyFans was more popular than I'd ever could have imagined, right? And then again, I was in this position where I got a lot of views and validation for something that I didn't feel fully passionate about. I want to preface this by saying I do love photo shoots, right? I do love, even though I talk a lot about shit about modeling and I talk about the dangers of modeling and how toxic it can be, there's beautiful parts of it. I mean, doing a photo shoot, here's some of my favorite photos. We just did a photo shoot with Jeff here, with the photographer in the Hollywood Hills. Beautiful art, and I love that self-expression. I do like that part of modeling. I just don't like the industry and the toxicity and the sexual harassment that comes with it. So then with OnlyFans, I felt like, okay, wow, I can make content on my own behalf and monetize it, and people enjoy it, and there's no algorithm, and I feel like I don't have the pressure of views and this weird validation cycle that goes on other platforms, right? It's just like people subscribe, and then what I put out, there's no metrics to it, and it takes off the anxiety of creating. So I made OnlyFans, posted videos on there, and yeah, it did very well. Then I made videos about OnlyFans, did very well. And then again, all of a sudden, I kind of built a brand around something that is cool, but that's not my main passion. But it was just there. I was kind of being pushed into it because it was right there. It was so easy, right? And then I got approached by some of the biggest OnlyFans creators and male models. I was approached by Reno Gold, and I made videos with Malik Delgado, who's a huge adult star, and I interviewed Malik, and we had these fun moments where I asked him about his journey of like doing gay porn as a straight guy, and those videos took off. And it's just so funny because I loved making the videos. And I'll preface this again, I loved making every single video on this channel. I loved the storytelling. I had so much fun with Jeff, traveling around the world, being in these bizarre scenarios with Reno Gold and all these people. But I just never fully connected with the content itself, if that makes sense. Like the subject matter is not what I was passionate about. I was passionate about the storytelling, interviewing people, which is very much in line with my stand-up comedy journey now. And because I made so many videos in the realm of OnlyFans and modeling, they would get views. And if I made another video about anything else, it wouldn't get a lot of views, which then makes me think, and I have this belief system that I had, is that I can be successful online as long as I take my pants off, basically, right? Or as long as I take my shirt off. There's this belief system also from modeling that, you know, I got a lot of people that like said some shit about me in modeling that were like, Mario, you can only be successful if you are leaning into the underwear modeling. Because, a matter of fact, I was semi-successful as a model, but the most successful was underwear stuff. Like, I don't know, I just said the body was working, and I know I'm in good shape, and I just fit this niche in modeling about underwear. And I was never like, I mean, I did some jobs for bigger brands like Bloomingdale's and Banana Republic and Puma, Adidas, but for the most part I did underwear stuff, and I never got to the level of like walking on the runway for Prada or Armani or anything like that. So I felt like there was this belief system. I just believed that I could only be successful if I take my shirt off and if I disrespect my own boundaries. And that's just where I was at. And then a couple years ago, after the pandemic, I went back to my first stand-up comedy open mic. And doing stand-up comedy, I always fucking knew that I loved it so much, because that's everything that feels authentic to me. It's connecting with strangers, it's making people laugh, it's writing, it's creatively expressing myself. But people also in stand-up would then tell me, they look at my page and they'd be like, Mario, you're a model, you're too hot to do stand-up. Stay in your lane. And I kind of believed it. I was like, okay, let me maybe like not go full force into it. And it was also like a bit of fear. I was like, what if I go into it and then I fail, and then I feel like, you know, my self-worth is going down. And mind you, I had a successful business making these YouTube videos, interviewing porn stars. I went to the AVNs, interviewed people, asked porn stars about their penis size, like really fun videos, and it was all working. And then also some people would subscribe to my OnlyFans, and I was making a good living, you know what I'm saying, in Los Angeles. Like I wasn't fucking crazy rich like some of these other other people. But, you know, I was making a good wage and a good living. So it's hard to give that up. But the more I started doing stand-up, the more I realized that I cannot deny that this is the biggest passion in my life. And it is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So it's almost like this difficult battle between having established such a big brand online in a certain niche, right, around modeling and underwear modeling, and having a YouTube channel with almost 1 million subscribers, but then having this new thing that is really feels authentic to me and fuels my soul. So then I was like, fuck it. And a year ago, I decided to start my first stand-up comedy tour. And it was unbelievable. The first couple shows, you know, I was struggling to sell 30 tickets, 40 tickets. Because, you know, most of my people, even though I had a lot of followers, most of them followed me not for my stand-up, but, you know, for me making videos about modeling. So it was kind of eye-opening and also sad to see that not many people showed up. But even if only 30 people showed up, seeing those people in person, looking into their eyes and realizing that I'd made them laugh, it fueled me in a way nothing else had fueled me before. Even though I made so much less money, like just to give you an idea, I make now probably like 20% of what I used to make, right? So like 80% less. But I'm so much happier because everything I do feels so incredibly authentic. And then the tour continued. I started rebranding on Instagram. I made all these videos, you know, more from like a European perspective on America. I posted stand-up clips. Some of them got millions of views on Instagram. We're now on Instagram all of a sudden. I grew to 1 million followers on Instagram recently. And everything is like very wholesome and very authentic to me. And last week I had a beautiful moment. I went to Toronto for the first time. I did a first full weekend of shows. We added 3 shows in Toronto and I sold out all of them. And seeing a fully packed stand-up comedy crowd only a year after starting touring, I was like, fuck man, this is it. This is the path. And there's nothing more fulfilling to me than that. Going to a new city, Toronto, meeting all these people, seeing you guys in person after the shows, connecting with y'all. It's something I fucking love so much. And I had this beautiful moment at the show where this woman came up to me and she's from Brazil originally. And she was like, Mario, can you make a video for my kids? Because my 8-year-old daughter and my 10-year-old son love watching your videos, but they cannot come to the show and you make us laugh every night. And it almost made me cry because I realized, wow, my audience has really shifted so much. And then they would look me up on YouTube and then the first video that pops up is like, how to measure your penis the correct way. And I just felt this huge disconnect between where I'm going and what I currently represent online, at least on this channel. And that's the struggle I have currently because I know that stand-up is working right now and I'm starting to make real money with stand-up, which is the best thing ever, right? I have an amazing manager, which is, it's so beautiful to work with somebody who, just a side note, I've worked with so many people in modeling who have been very abusive, who had some sexual interest in me, and having somebody who's just incredibly professional and believes in me is very special. And I feel so clear about the vision I have with stand-up right now, like really clear. I think I'm gonna film a special end of this year. I'm starting to talk to, you know, big Hollywood people, right? Whether it's Disney or Netflix. And I think there's a clear path for me. And I think the old brand just does not fit into the trajectory of my life anymore. And that's why I decided to, unfortunately, take down a lot of the videos on this channel. Like videos that just didn't feel authentic anymore. And I hope you understand that that's part of my rebrand. And what I did is that I uploaded all these videos still on OnlyFans. And I still have modeling content come out. I did a photo shoot, beautiful photo shoot with my wife and Jeff, and I'm still posting some of that stuff on OnlyFans. So if you want to see some of that content, OnlyFans is going to be the only place for that. So if you want to check it out this week, I'm going to give you 75% off my OnlyFans, just to, you know, you can access that back catalog and there's some new content that's going to be nowhere else on the internet because it doesn't make sense to share it on Instagram because it feels off, you know, especially given the new audience I've gathered. Now the question is, what am I going to do on this channel? And that's a good question and something I'm gonna figure out. This does not mean that I'm gonna abandon this channel and stop posting on this channel. I do have a new channel. I have 2 new channels, Mario Adrion 2 and my comedy channel where I post stand-up comedy clips. So if you love me and you love my content regardless, then please consider following these channels. On this channel, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break to really figure out what I wanna do. Some of my favorite videos I've made this year was a video at Burning Man where I just talked about Burning Man and some experiences I've had. And it's a very raw video, much more personal and raw. But what does not feel authentic anymore is making a video asking porn stars about how they douche, if that makes sense, right? That's just something that I don't feel like is gonna happen on this channel anymore. And I'm sorry, and I understand if you're upset, but I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. Sorry if this is a bit of a rambling video. video. Let me know your thoughts on this. I'm excited to see where this channel is going to go. If you've been part of this journey, I know I always meet people, even at my shows now, that have followed me from the modeling days and now came to my shows in Toronto or San Diego and all over the US. So really appreciate that. Guys, I don't know what to say anymore. You guys are awesome, truly. This channel has been one of my favorite things I've ever done, and it's been such a privilege. And again, it's not the end. You know, it sounds like the end a little bit. I just wanted to make this video to really explain where I've been at. Yeah, let me know what kind of content you'd like to see on this channel. And I love you. Peace out.